Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. This is Culture Shock. We're here to talk about the preview, the division game. The Tennessee Titans are heading to Indianapolis to take on the Indianapolis Colts. In this preview video, this should be an interesting one. This is week 15. Long season is almost over. It's been a stressful one for Colts, well, for both teams, to be honest. But the Colts going into this game, looking for a victory. Not much to go for at the point of the season, the way that the season has played out. But there's still some football to be played, so let's tune in. Appreciate all of you for your support. And let's hop into this video. Let's talk about it. So, the Indianapolis Colts going up against Mason Rudolph and the Tennessee Titans. Mason Rudolph is the quarterback that's going to be starting. They have benched Will Levis as of last week. So, this should be an interesting one. I know what Mason Rudolph had a chance to play a long time ago, but they finally pulled it away and said, you know what? Let's put Mason in the game. So, he's going to be going against the Indianapolis Colts, who's coming off of a loss last week, which was a pretty pivotal game against the Broncos that looked like they could have been won, but they fell flat in the second half going into the fourth quarter, just an abysmal ending. And the Titans wound up losing to the Bengals last week, which was a game that could have been won by them as well, but they wound up doing the same thing. So this game is definitely for both teams to look like they can try to change the direction of their seasons going into this one. There's still some football to be played. So the only thing to be playing is for confidence, morale, support, and some type of motivation going into next season. So let's take a look at it. For the injury report for the Indianapolis Colts, as of today, we still got one more day of practice, but as of right now, Mo Cox did not practice for Wednesday or Thursday. Then you have Ashton Doolin, who came back from practice today. You got Matt Gay, who did not practice for 2 days. Latu came back to practice this week, which is good. Alec Pierce looks like he's going to be out with that concussion. Michael Pittman Jr. practiced on Thursday today. EJ Speed didn't practice with today, so he might be out. Juju Brents actually came back from his injury that he sustained early in the season, so did not practice. He's limited in practice, so he's going to try to come back before the season ends, which is a huge, huge boost that we need. We need to see Juju Brents on the field for future purposes. So it's good to see that he's back on the practice report. Jalen Carley's is back from his injury. So he's been full. So he's going to be game ready. And Ryan Kelly looks game ready as well. And also Tyquan Lewis. So those are names that we definitely need to see back on the field. Tyquan, Ryan Kelly, Jalen Carley's, Juju Brents, all of those guys coming back is a huge boost. Ashton Doolin and Latu as well. So those guys back on the field is definitely a huge boost, a huge boost to both sides of the field. Sorry about that. But this game should be interesting for sure. Looking at it for the Indianapolis Colts, looks like they average about 20 points a game, and opponents average 23, which is pretty much a balanced game for both sides. But the Colts have been doing pretty good defensively as of this year, holding teams under 20 points. So this should be a good game to see how they get it done. Penalty-wise, this team is very penalized for the Indianapolis Colts. They've sustained a lot of penalties over the weeks, most of that coming from the offensive side of the offensive line. The offense has just been very brutal to watch for the Indianapolis Colts. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go out against this Tennessee Titans team. Third down efficiency is pretty much 35%, which is not good as well. On the defensive side is 44%. They give up a lot of third down success. So it's going to be interesting to see how they how they play on third downs against Mason Rudolph on the defensive side. And hopefully the offense can figure out something, game plan wise, because the offense has pretty much just been abysmal trying to figure out their game plan to get it done. Anthony Richardson, like I said, he's been having an up and down season, but I think he progressed more than regressed in his developments. Like I said, he's been pretty much playing football by himself out there. The offensive line hasn't been helping at all. Jonathan Taylor, he's been doing his thing, but he can't find the end zone. And Josh Downs is probably his only successful receiver to throw the football to, which is not a good sign to have, honestly. But looking at this Titans team, the Tennessee Titans, they average 18 points a game. Opponents average 27. So it looks like the Colts might have a field day, according to these stats. But the Titans do give up a lot of points. The defense has been pretty much, uh, to be honest, after last week watching the Bengals game, I feel like this defense has taken a huge step up in these recent weeks for the Titans. The numbers doesn't do it justice, but I do think this defense has definitely made a huge turnaround from what their previous matchups looked like. I think their defense is their strongest suit for the football team as well. Like I said, these numbers doesn't do it justice. I think if you had anything to be scared about, it's that defense for the Tennessee Titans, and that's no question. I think most of these points came back from the offense just being played out, and defense have to be on the field longer than what it has to be. So I think that's where the total points come from. But I do think the defense is the best part for the Tennessee Titans team, and I think anybody can agree to that. Obviously, third down efficiency, the Titans are 38% on defense, so they give up a lot of third down success. And third downs for them, they don't give up a lot. They're 36%. So that third down efficiency rate isn't as great as you would think. And on defense, they give up a lot of third down success as well. So both of these teams are not good on third downs. They got sacked. Uh, they get sacked a lot, so their offensive line doesn't really have the success that you would want it to be. That's where pretty much most of those Will Levis plays, where he pretty much get pressured a lot. Hopefully, they can hold up for Mason Rudolph. Like I said, this is a big week for him to make a name for himself going into towards the off season. Maybe he can get maybe some type of opportunity elsewhere. We don't know what the direction might be for Tennessee with the Will Levis benching situation. Maybe they might give him another shot going into next year. But Mason Rudolph, like I said, he's still a talented quarterback. I think he's a good support quarterback to have on your roster. So I think he can pretty much play himself into a starting role, maybe there or elsewhere. But like I said, he has a big opportunity to have ahead of him to go out there and make a name for himself. So it's, at this point, when he gets this chance, I think he's pretty much going to take it. And honestly, I think Colts fans can agree that they'll probably fear Mason Rudolph more than they will fear Will Levis. Not saying that Will Levis could have a big day against the Colts, because he really would, but I think a lot of Colts fans will probably, turn their heads and, raise their eyebrows if Mr. Rudolph is out there starting instead of Will Levis, because we know the first meeting, Will Levis pretty much just gave that game away. But Mason Rudolph is pretty much going to try to play for his starting spot because he has something to play for. I mean, Will Levis does as well, but I think Mason Rudolph's a little bit more polished as a quarterback than Will Levis, because he still has a lot to learn. Like I said, he's still young, got a lot of development ahead of him, and that offense did not do him any justice. But he got a good receiving core. Both of those guys have a good receiving core. They got a good run game. I think the offensive line is the biggest question mark that they have. But once they get that figured out, I think this team is rolling. So once they figure that out, they'll be all right. But it just come down to continuity and slap protections to protect your quarterback. Honestly, I think they got everything else intact: tight end, wide receivers, and running backs. I just think they need an offensive line, honestly. But I think their defense is really good. Honestly, I think it's underrated. But they can definitely turn the ball over and get a lot of stops, especially with that defensive line that they got. For the injury report for the Titans, Tavondre Sweat is questionable. Daryl Worley's questionable. Kenneth Murray is questionable as well. Nick Folk is questionable. You got Nick Westbrook. He's questionable. Tony Pollard's questionable as well. And Tyler Boyd, also questionable. They all didn't practice Wednesday. As of Thursday, you'll hear the reports later. And I think Tavondre Sweat was the only one for Thursday. So a lot of these guys might be available to go on Friday and be ready for game day. But those are the guys that was questionable for Wednesday's practice and Thursday's practice. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen for this team going into Indianapolis to play the Indianapolis Colts. I'm expecting a big day from Jonathan Taylor, honestly. Even though I think the Titans' defensive line is pretty good, I think Taylor might actually get in the end zone this week instead of what he did last week. Richardson might have a better field day than what he had last week. I'm just looking for this offensive line to turn it around. They have to. I think this is their best time to do it. Like I said, that's not going to be easy. Going up against this Titan defensive line, like what we seen the last time they met, it was a very close game. The score was 20-17. But they have Flacco in that game. They got Richardson this time, so I think it might be a little different. The run game wasn't successful, and I think most of that had to do with what we had a quarterback. So it's going to be a different outcome. Honestly, I do have faith in this team this week against the Titans. It's going to be on CBS, and the tickets are very cheap, so it should be loud in that game. So hopefully the Colts fans can go out there and make some noise. The Tennessee Titans definitely have a chance to win this game. The opportunity is right in front of them. The defense for the Colts has been playing out of their minds, but I said they do let off the gas in the second half. So if they have any chance to do something, it's going to be in the second half. But I think the Colts are going to come out on fire, and they might walk away with this game. So the Colts might going to win this week, and the Titans going to take another L going into the draft. They got 2 more weeks left, but this should be a game, a bounce back game for the Colts. They should be going to hit this game motivated after they just lost the last game for the chance to make the playoffs. So they should go in there and pretty much hit the Titans in the mouth. So it should be an interesting one. You guys tune in. Let me know your predictions in the comment section. This is Culture Shock, and I'll see you after the game. Peace.